There is Jan Schrub, the defending champion for France. Has a great range to Schrub. 3:35 for 1500, 27:47 for 10,000 metres. Didn't finish the Olympic 10,000 metre final in Paris. Was 9th last year in Budapest over 10,000 metres. Crippa of Italy. Well, Crippa, of course, will be tough to beat. He's the European 10,000 champion from Munich 22. Won the half marathon title in Rome last year in front of the home crowds. He's also now the Italian record holder over the marathon. 2:06 he ran in Seville on the 18th of February, a few months ago now. He would have been disappointed with his 24th in the Olympic marathon in Paris, the former Ethiopian. There is Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the Norwegian, who is full of confidence. Became a father earlier on this year, going for his 7th title, 4 times junior champion. He is 18 times a European champion already, the Olympic champion at 5,000. He had a quiet winter last year with illness and dealing with that Achilles injury, but the summer was fabulous. Olympic gold at 5,000, a world record over 3,000 in Silesia. Will he get the world record over 1,500? That's the question for Ingebrigtsen next year. And Mira, well, yes, he's already been a great backup to Ingebrigtsen, of the 24-year-old here, 2nd in the European Cross-Country Championships last year behind Schrub. And as Lanan of Turkey will fly their colours as proudly as he can. He's only 23, European cross-country under 20 silver medalist back in 2019, and World Student Games half marathon silver medalist last year as well. He's a pretty accomplished athlete, is Ayatollah Azlahan. 5 laps, same distance as the women this race. It's 7,834 metres. How will Ingebrigtsen go here? He is irresistibly consistent. Like Batacleti, he starts here as a very strong favourite. The final race of the day then, these 30th SPAR European Cross-Country Championships here in Dokuma Park, Antalya. Underway then, 5 laps lie ahead for this big field, nicely spread across the starting section there. I can remember starting cross-country races like the English National, and there'd be 6 of us in the pen. You'd start with several hundred men in front of you when the gun went, but that's not the case here. Milner of Great Britain, one of the early frontrunners. Hugo Milner, 2nd in the UK trials, the 26-year-old, best known as a professional triathlete with the World Triathlon Championship Series ranking of 17 in earlier on this month. Crippa hits the front 2, the Italian record holder in the half marathon. He's been fabulously consistent, and his career has gone from strength to strength in recent years.
You'd say cross-country is Crippa's comfort zone, and he really does have nothing to lose by going to the front and trying to test everyone and trying to get himself another medal.
Absolutely right. Interesting though, isn't it, that Ingebrigtsen straight away is up towards the front end, less than 2 minutes on the clock, unlike Batacleti, who sat back and just eased up to the front over the first 10 minutes or so. Ingebrigtsen covering everything out the front end. And Crippa has laid out his stall very clearly early on, hasn't he? Straight to the front, one of the favourites for a medal, gone to the front, 2 minutes on the clock, and he's pushing it hard. And this is not a pack of 20, 10 across like we've seen in several other races today. Milner striding out up on his toes, looking very, very strong. But it's easy to look great for the first 5-10 minutes of a race like this, Hannah. It's what happens in the last 5 or 10 minutes that matters, perhaps.
And I wonder how much confidence Hugo Milner would have taken from his 4th place last year. He might not take as much confidence from those logs. That looked a bit laboured for him. He's so tall, to try and get a stride in between those would have been hard. But Milner, when you run triathlon and your race is 2 hours long, again, we should put Milner in the category of a marathon runner in the way that he should approach these races. He's got a massive engine and he's very used to running a 10K after doing that swim and the bike. So I'm not surprised to see Milner leading. And I wonder, I know he lost his mother earlier on this autumn, and whether he was still sort of working through that at our trials event in Britain, because he didn't look like his normal sort of aggressive front-running confident self, and this is a different Hugo Milner than I think we've seen so far in the running this season.
You know, I was going to say that. I mean, really sad he lost his mum to cancer back on September the 9th. This will be his first major championship race since then. On the clock, Great Britain leading the team race in these very early stages. That sandy section to be negotiated. And what is great about this course today is that they've absolutely maximised what's available. It's not a particularly hilly park, but it has got undulations. They've increased that with a couple of man-made mounds. They've made these logs awkwardly spaced, so they're really hard to run through at speed. The sand sections break your stride as well. Then there are muddy sections as well. Plenty of twists and turns. It's got everything, this circuit here in Antalya.
And then this nice wide straight where you can reshuffle. When it just, this is what gives you the chance to move up. You can see John Heymans of Belgium and Robin Hendricks as well. He didn't have the great first lap, the bronze medalist from last year. You can see him just moving through as well. And great to see Almgren of Sweden up there involved as well. So all the big names still there. And like I say, lap after lap that goes on. I really am seeing this section here as a chance for people to make up for an error or a mistake that they might have made through their lap. But Ingebrigtsen just asking Hendricks for a bit of space here. This is the tightest corner I think we're seeing on the course in terms of the athletes clashing together, but they all come round fine.
Well, my dark horse in the women's race was Sara Lahti of Sweden. She finished in 7th place. And funnily enough, my dark horse, as I've got it scribbled down here in my notes, in this race is Andreas Almgren of Sweden. It's his debut at the European Cross Country Championships. Even though he's 29, he's a former, listen to this, here he is in a cross country race and he's run a great 10,000. He's a former world junior medalist at 800 metres. He's run 1:45.5 for 800. He'll be the fastest in this race at 800, I'm sure of that. He's got an incredible range. He's also run 59.23 for a half marathon earlier on this year. He's been training with Jakob Ingebrigtsen in the Sierra Nevada, and I think Almgren here might just feed off this early pace from the rest of them, just tuck in behind them, let everybody exhaust themselves with their front running. Milner at the front, Klipper in second, Ingebrigtsen in third, and cause a bit of a surprise here. Wouldn't it be quite something in his first ever appearance at the European Cross Country if he could get a medal?
Well, the team standings through that first lap, Belgium, Britain, Spain. So Belgium are running really well at the moment. But you do wonder about those teams that are holding back. Can they come through well? And you can see Tuv Mira and Philip Ingebrigtsen running well. And they're just going to come through the screen here behind Quillijon of Luxembourg. And they know their way around this sort of race. You wonder if they're going to come flying through a bit and some of the other teams might struggle, because I'm surprised not to see Norway as a team in the top 3 at this stage.
Well, I think you're right, Hannah. Give it time. We're halfway around the second lap of 5. Hugo Milner here, oozing confidence, striding along comfortably. There's no wind around today. It was sunny earlier on. The sun's just dipped behind the clouds at the moment, although thankfully the mountains around the city, the Taurus Mountains, just beginning to appear through the mist for the first time in the last 24 hours. And Milner here might as well be at the front and get a good look at the various obstacles and challenges on the circuit as be tucked in behind somebody else. Ingebrigtsen, though, very much to the fore, Hannah. I mean, he's got to be oozing confidence when you see how fit he was back in August and September. If his autumn has gone well, he will be incredibly tough to beat here today.
And how often do we see Ingebrigtsen way further back, particularly at European level? He really loves to just hang back in the race and let those first few kilometres just happen and then get involved. And that's not what we're seeing here from Ingebrigtsen. Whether that's because of the little jumps, I'm not sure, or whether he looks so happy on the start line. He was joking around, he was mucking around with Mira, joking with the officials. To see him that relaxed, perhaps he is happy just to go up to the front of the race. He's not seeing that as tension. Bastian Augusto looking good at the moment. A 6th place finisher from...
Went below the radar, but that's still a pretty big pack. What about 12 or 14 fellas there within a couple of seconds of Milner at the front, so they choose different lines on this particular section. He to the left, Ingebrigtsen to the right. The surface is very much of a muchness on the flatter grassy sections. It's still quite testing underfoot. I mean, walking around it yesterday, I was struck by how uneven it is under the grass, and plenty of opportunity to lose your footing or twist an ankle. So they have to be aware, these fellas, and that's probably why it's even more advantageous on this sort of surface to be at the front.
This group is still big, Tim, and that makes me think it's not super quick. Oh, there goes Robin Hendricks. Robin Hendricks striking out, a new Belgian 5K road record holder. Set that mark at podium. I think it's around 13:30 something. so he knows he's in shape. But I saw Hendricks practicing the hurdles on the far side of this course again and again and again yesterday, and it didn't look good. I'm not going to lie, I don't know how many hours he was out there for, but Hendricks, we've missed him in the middle of the pack for the first couple of laps, but last year's bronze medalist, he's putting himself out there now.
Well, he is a solid runner, Hendricks. 3:37, 1500. That's worth about 3:53 for a mile, 3:54 for a mile, 13:14 for 5,000. Not a fast time over 10,000 as yet, but he is a very competent runner on the track, and I like to see rounded runners. I'd love to see athletes who are great on the roads and on the country and on the track, athletes who go through the gears of a career, so to speak, and earn their colours, serve their apprenticeship. Of course, we're so used now to many athletes going straight onto the roads, particularly the East Africans, and becoming fabulous marathon runners when they're almost teenagers still or in their early 20s. But most of these European athletes in shot are great rounded runners. They're good on all surfaces.
And Milner, again, just finds himself at the front of the field. I'm thinking, again, with that triathlon background, whether it's these tight corners, they do a lot of hairpins in triathlon running, and maybe it's nothing to him to swing around something that sharp and expect he's almost on autopilot, then he drive out of it, because every time there's a little obstacle, he seems to pull away from the athletes around him. And just another word on Milner with that triathlon background. He was very close to making the Paris Games for Britain in triathlon, and again, the emotional kind of come down from that, the disappointment from that as well. Again, he's got nothing to lose. Why not come to a cross-country race and just roll the dice?
Well, we're on the third of 5 laps. They're at about the halfway stage now, very close to the halfway stage. Hugo Milner, Jakob Ingebrigtsen just tucked in there behind. Kripa, Hendricks is up there as well. The French Shrub, the defending champion, still the reigning champion for another 10 minutes or so at least. The Belgian going well to Isaac Kimeli, European cross-country silver back in 2018. He's 30 years old now. He's the oldest of this front pack. What's remarkable, I suppose, about Ingebrigtsen, Hannah, as we just focus upon him for a minute there in second place, is that he's still only 24. It seems like he's been around for years, but the guy is a physiological freak. When you think back to Berlin in 2018, the European Championships in the Olympic Stadium, he took double gold at the age of 17 at 1,500 and 5,000. It was the most astonishing thing to witness. I'd never seen anything like it in 45 years in this sport.
No, he is wonderful, and you look back, he won a European junior title at steeplechase. He was just mucking around. He was doing whatever. He enjoys competing. Just a word on Mirda there, last year's silver medalist. He doesn't look like he's having as good a day at all, Magnus Tuv Mirda. So that's going to add some points to the Norwegians. Philip Ingebrigtsen was moving well, but Jakob, if anyone hasn't watched the Born to Run documentary, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful insight into the Ingebrigtsen brothers and what they've gone through in the last year. And I really enjoyed that, and it showed a different side to Ingebrigtsen. He's so focused, he's so competitive, and to see sort of him living day to day and what that sort of looks like was really interesting. And I've enjoyed them sort of opening up as a family a little bit in the last year, and even down to Ingebrigtsen sharing his training data from his watch and that sort of stuff. I think it's really interesting.
Milner leads for Great Britain. His teammate Rory Leonard, the second scorer, giving a really good account of himself. Rory Leonard has come on in leaps and bounds. European Under-23 champion last year over 10,000 metres. He's still only 23, coached by Andy Hobdell, who incidentally coaches Ellis Cross and Scott Beattie in the British team as well. He's done a fabulous job as Hobdell. As Kripa now runs a slightly different line there for Italy, alongside Ingebrigtsen, who almost gets his nose in front. They're down this home straight as they come towards the end of this third lap. 2 laps to go. Some big names up there. The Spanish beginning to feature a little bit now as well. We'll give you an idea of just how the team race is looking, with the halfway point now behind us as these senior men come through with a couple of laps to run. For the Spanish, it's Hasaus and Ndickum Winayo and Alkelfen looking strong. Here we go into the fourth lap.
The whole Spanish team, something has happened. Look at them, 5 of them. There's one other just out of shot as well. I was wondering when they were going to start their charge. I think there's been some team tactics there. Wait a few laps, as long as the race doesn't splinter too far apart. Wait, and then we will glide through as a pack. And I think the Spanish team are really on the charge there. The French are still hanging in there. I'm going to say Alexis Millet was moving through well in the field when they came in front of us as well. There we go. France in the lead at the moment from Great Britain and Spain. But look at that sea of red vests. Oh, almost Losada's going down in the mud there, but those Spanish vests are certainly on the charge.
That third lap, 4:26, exactly the same as the second lap. There's been no acceleration, but this is the penultimate lap. This is where we may see a move. Somebody else might want to break up this pack, because that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 athletes in shot. It's just looking a little too comfortable. Almgren in the yellow of Sweden still in there, back in about 8th place. Milner has had a fabulous run so far. Ingebrigtsen just glancing across there to see who's to his right. He's still looking calm and comfortable. Kimeli looking very relaxed too. 30 years old Kimeli, and a man who won the Belgian cross-country title just recently. He's a classy performer, 12:56 for 5,000 metres this year, 7:41 for 3,000. Mustn't write off Kimeli. He's got that armoury of speed and strength and power at hand if he needs it.
Valentin Goudouin of France, I think, is their third scorer at the moment. We've still got Bastien and Jan Schrubb. I don't think I want to play poker against Jan Schrubb. Yesterday, he was giving it all. I'm not in shape. I only decided to come at the last minute. I'm just here for the team. But the defending champion, he's not been out of the top 5. I think he was taking the pressure off himself yesterday.
Do you think he fooled anyone?
He fooled me. I was like, oh, okay, all right. He's tired.
What, you thought about it overnight?
No, I just thought, oh well. I was excited to see Jan Schrubb at his best, but he's not at it. But somehow he's just put himself right up there.
Well, Gondouin of France is up there as well. You mentioned him. He's a 2:10 marathon runner, 13:14 for 5,000. He's got great speed and strength as well. Strength aplenty. Kripa has remained relatively anonymous so far. Hasn't really made any significant moves just yet. He's 28 years old now. European junior champion at cross country, under 20 champion back in 2014, 2015. His 12th appearance, this, as I said, in the European cross country championships. And he may yet prove very hard to beat. That's a strength of a 2:06 marathon runner. His 1500 speed is superb as well. He's run under 13 minutes for 5,000 metres. And Kripa, along with Ingebrigtsen, along with Schrubb, along with Kimeli. I mean, it is just wonderfully poised. Mechal of France, Spain rather, is up there. Former European indoor champion at 3,000 metres. There he is, back in about 10th place, just off the back of this pack at the moment. Rory Leonard, to the right of picture. His dad, Tony Leonard, was a great runner himself. And he will be watching this with intense interest as Ingebrigtsen, Hannah, eases to the front for the first time halfway through this penultimate lap. And I wonder if now he'll begin to turn the screw. I
think he is, Tim. I think I'm sure Mark Butler, our lovely statistician, will be looking at the lap times and figuring out what's going on here. Because I do think Ingebrigtsen is just squeezing. Rory Leonard has made a smart move there to move himself into first British person, I think, ahead of Hugo Milner, Almgren, and Deacon Wanayu, the Spanish athlete, is who can make the break into this pack now. And whether it's a smart decision to make that break, because if you've still got 2 laps to go, they 1 lap now, they're going to come up and take the bell. You don't want to leave yourself with no energy at all for this final lap. But I expect Ingebrigtsen every 100 metres, every 200 metres now, it's going to be quicker, it's going to be harder, and he's going to whittle this group down.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because Ingebrigtsen has that psychological advantage over the others. They know what he's capable of. Kripa, Kimeli, Schrubb. There is Deacon Wanayu, the little Spanish vest, back in 5th place. Almgren in 6th has separated himself from the rest. They're 6 away. Kripa now knows what's coming. He knows he's up against one of the fastest men in history at 1,500 metres and the mile. He knows he's got to try and use his strength, spread it out over this final lap very, very wisely. But what he's also got to make sure he does is apply pressure to Ingebrigtsen. Make the Norwegian there in 2nd place feel uncomfortable going into the last kilometre. And that means applying the pressure now, not going flat out, saving a little bit for that long home straight. But Kripa here doing exactly the right thing that he knows is his only chance of beating Ingebrigtsen.
Kripa is running very, very smartly here. I think he's really upset to be off the podium in Turin 2 years ago, and he's gone away and turned himself into a great marathon runner, one of the best we've got in Europe. But he's back here on the cross. He used to run mountain running as a junior, the Italian. And you're right, Tim, he's got to just go throw absolute caution to the wind. They've got around about just over half a lap to go. And Deacon Wanayu, he's missed the break here. Kimeli was there, he couldn't go with it. Schrubb, I think, couldn't go with it as well. And Deacon Wanayu, he's still moving forward, but the energy the Spanish athlete will have used if he gets back to Crippa and Ingebrigtsen is, I don't think he's going to have anything left to do anything with if he does get there.
Well, this last lap is going to be super fast. The second lap was 4:26, the third lap 4:26, the fourth lap 4:20, and this one is going to be much quicker because they have really taken the gloves off here now. Crippa threw the gauntlet down at the Norwegian, and as ever, Ingebrigtsen has responded in the best possible fashion if you're a Norwegian fan, and that is to say, yep, anything you can do, I can do as well, son. And I'll tell you what, have it back with interest. Have at you, so to speak, because Ingebrigtsen now, halfway around this final lap, is putting the pressure on Crippa, and the Italian there in the blue vest in second place had a little glance over his shoulder just then, and that was telling, because Ingebrigtsen is pouring it on here. That combination of speed and strength and racing nous, knowing when to apply the pressure, is applied again and again, and it's applied correctly.
And Crippa here, it's like he should use Ingebrigtsen to pull him away from the rest of the field. He's got to take that advantage. It's within sniffing distance and open up a gap over Ndika. But he can't make himself vulnerable. He can't falter. In that long home straight that we've seen, he's got to save something. Crippa, he's looking behind every 100 metres. He must know the gold medal is gone, and he'd love to pick up the silver.
Well, they say cream rises to the top, and it certainly has done today. You've got the European 1,500 and 5,000 metre champion from Rome last summer, and remember, that was his third brace of such titles. Ingebrigtsen in the lead, up against the reigning European half marathon champion, Yaman Berhan Crippa, in second place. Kimeli in third place, having a fabulous run here. Received his Belgian citizenship on family reunification grounds. He and his coach Tim Morio may be heading for a bronze medal here, Kimeli, but he's in the wake of this man who's looking quite supreme. The crowd loving it, and yet again the champion has delivered. The consistency of this man is quite astonishing. Spain leading from France and Great Britain in the team race. Belgium in fourth place, just 1 point down behind the Brits. It's very, very tight there as they enter the home straight now. Jakob Ingebrigtsen in his element. How many times have we seen this? This will be his 19th European gold medal on various surfaces. This man does it again and again. He's blown them away over this final kilometre. Crippa back in second place. He's going to take silver. He's well separated from third place, Kimeli of Belgium, who surely will take bronze. In fact, Ndika of Spain is back in third place, but there's no doubting the winner. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is crowned king once again at these European cross-country championships. Brilliant running in Antalya. Crippa in second for Italy. And Ndika narrowly taking the bronze there from Kimeli of Belgium. Amgren, a fabulous fifth place for the Swede there. And last year's winner, Jan Schrubb, was sixth place for him. There's no shame in that. Good packing from the Spanish. Hasaus there in seventh. And Alcalfan in eighth. Rory Leonard in ninth, Mechal in 10th, brilliant running. Milner just outside the top 10 there, I think, in 11th place. The Spanish have packed wonderfully well, wow. Gondouin, France in 12th. Close running, there's Philip Ingebrigtsen coming home inside the top 20. Great running from him. Tarragano of Britain in 19th place. Considering the way the pace picked up, Hannah, over those final two laps, there's a lot of athletes not too far behind the winner here, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. The calibre at the front end of this race today was supremely high.
Another wonderful race. I think we have got the expected champion in Jakob Ingebrigtsen, but just the tactics going on behind with everyone. And I think, I was looking at that women's under-23 race and Phoebe Anderson kind of outsmarting Ferreira and Monanen, and they would go home and say, maybe I could do something better. I think you look down that finishing straight behind Ingebrigtsen here, and I think there are a whole load of senior men here that absolutely nailed their races. They were obviously excited, they were up for the occasion. The crowd loved seeing an athlete like Ingebrigtsen running in front of them, and everyone fed off that energy. And Crippa back on a European podium. And the Italians are looking desperately for the team score. I'm not sure they're going to be quite up there. And it has been given to Spain, then France, then Britain on the team side. And we could see that across the line, the Spanish team flying across. It must have been very tight between France and Great Britain.
Yeah, super tight. But just to underline the speed and power of Jakob Ingebrigtsen, he opened up a gap of 8 seconds there over the last 400 metres. I mean, that is supreme closing from Ingebrigtsen. Dick and Winayo a further 7 seconds back from Kripper, and Kimeli just a couple of seconds back for Belgium, just outside the medals. There's and Dick and Winayo took the bronze here today, has made the rostrum, and he has a gold too in the team race. He was the foundation of that Spanish gold in the senior men's team, with France and Great Britain in second and third. What a day of racing it's been. Mark, just your thoughts on today's racing. I don't think we've seen many editions where there's been such calibre at the front of the major races.
Well, I was just going to follow up on what you've just said about Ingebrigtsen, because I timed his 1510 metre lap, which was just before the finish, in around 4 minutes. So he went from 4:20 to 4 minutes and then finished in 4:13. So that's still the quickest lap, even with the extra, to the finish.